Hello, everyone. This is Dr. K. I'm here tonight. It's night here at this point when I'm doing this recording. And I wanted to walk you through the Project One Milestone 2 because I've had a few questions about it and some people were getting confused. I will admit the directions are a little vague, so I thought just walking you through this part would be a little easier than trying to answer all the questions individually. It is a multi-step process. There will be some steps that you have to, or some answers you have to complete after this is the technical part is done. So my job right now is to go ahead and show you how to complete the first step so that you can continue on. So you should have already, and I've got several windows open up already just to make this go quicker during the video recording, but you'll need to work through this process on your own once you watch the video. So I do have it set up. I did, well, not sure what that is. Okay. Let's open this back up again. So this is the drawing I created to simulate what you have already done for the course. You should have created your ERD diagram, and I do suggest that you do it in Lucidchart. If you use some other program, then unfortunately it will be up to you to go ahead and figure out how to get your information exported into the SQL commands that we need. But I'm going to show you the Lucidchart option. So I created a very basic diagram. Yours should be more than this. I'm not saying this is a complete drawing. I'm using this as an example, and the simpler, the better for the purposes of what I'm doing here. So what you want to do is select everything in your drawing, and you can see you have options that pop up over here of exporting ERD. What that does, and you have multiple options. We need MySQL, but you can see there are a lot of options there that you can choose, and it will automatically generate all of the SQL for you. This is absolutely amazing. It's very simple. You could do this yourself by hand, but I recommend using the export feature. It does an amazing job of doing that. You can copy it to the clipboard, and then off screen I have already saved that to a Word document or a notepad because I'm going to reference here in just a little bit. So once you've exported and gotten the SQL commands that you need to create your database, then the next part you're going to go ahead and you'll need to connect to uCertify, and you're going to go to the 3.2.1 sandbox for AWS LAMP. LAMP stands for Linux. Let's see. Apache for the web server. Let's see. I'm just drawing a blank there. Oh, MySQL and then Postgres. So it's a combination server. Sorry, I just kind of blanked out there. So we're going to connect to this particular activity here, this open area, and we're going to start the server. And this does take a little bit of time, and there's just no way around it. Just one of those things we're going to have to do. So we're getting ready to connect to the AWS server, and you need to click the Start That Lab. And it is starting up a virtual instance and getting you access to your area. And I have done this several times working through this process. So we're going to go double check. We need to go to the EC2. So we're looking for a computing resource. We're going to check and see if there's anything running. There doesn't appear to be. Okay, good. This is what you would see, so that's perfect. What you'll need to do is go over here and go to Configure Instance. And what they have done is they've set up a script that will go ahead and install that lamp stack and create the EC2 instance for you. This is just to help you throughout the process. It recreates it every time that you do this configure instance. It will reset, so this is not a permanent installation. So don't do anything that you expect to be there afterwards. It is unfortunate, but that's just the way the U-Certify lab works. You can see up here it was created successfully. The easiest way is to go over here and say refresh. You can see your instances then, and what you're going to do is you're going to start going through these steps. So the instance was created successfully. Instance is already running, which we did not experience. You could if you had run that previously. What we're going to do is we're going to click on that instance ID, and you can see all the information about this EC2 instance, this server running on the AWS cloud. And we're going to click Connect. And we're going to scroll down here and just say connect. And that's going to bring us to a terminal session on that server. And this is the part that's going to take just a few steps. So what you're going to do is you're going to run those commands. You're going to do the list, and you're going to see, and I don't like the fact that you can't see. So let's do that. So you can see the directory db check. We're going to go cd for change directory and db. And here's a little tip. By hitting the tab button, Linux will autocomplete and help you pick out whatever it is in the directory structure, files, things like that will autocomplete based upon what it can match. So you can use the tab button. We're going to list the files in that area, and you can see that there are several files in that dbcheck directory. The one that we're concerned with now is we need to edit. So Nano is an editor, and we want to edit the student.code. Now this is going to take multiple steps, so you're just going to have to hang with me here. So we're going to say Nano stud, and I just hit the tab key, and it brings up the Nano editor. Now this is, you're going to look at this and go, this is quite antiquated, and you're not wrong, but it is still used quite often. So what we're going to do is we need to put our SQL information into some Python code. Now, if you're a Python programmer and want to do this manually, feel free. I have some Python experience, but I am also all about using technology when it's for my purposes. And I want to make a quick change over on this one. Let's see, SQL. And name. Table code. Okay. Okay. So back to where we were. We've edited this file. This information right here is the format that we need to get our, or actually to be your ERD SQL statements. So here's what I'm going to tell you to do. The easiest way to do this, and it's the only way I've figured out to do it without having to manually edit and take the chance of putting a parentheses or a quote or a comma in the wrong spot, is what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick screenshot of this right here. We're going to copy it, and this is what I would consider an appropriate use of AI, and so I'm giving you permission if you want to do it this way. This is what I'm recommending because based upon what we need and your experience with Python, this is not an easy process. So I'm going to suggest that you find, let's just do it this way. You find an AI chat of some sort that you're familiar with, and what we're going to do is use a prompt that says, I need to convert this SQL code to match this file format. Can you help me with that? So I pasted that image that I just took that gives them the format, and then I'm going to also paste in my SQL code that we exported from Lucidchart. And the nice thing is it will go through and create all that information for you. And the nice thing is this is pre-formatted. It does create it in two different pieces. So the first part creates the structure, and we need both parts. The second part then creates the SQL data statements that inserts the test data in there. So you're going to need both of those. And what I suggest you do at this point, everything is totally fine. There's nothing you need to correct. There are a lot of options it gives you as far as being able to streamline the process or add additional things to your data structures. I suggest you copy this information from both these screens and put it into that that Word document or whatever notepad, whatever way you want to store that information, but go ahead and put that in there because we're going to use it now. So we've used AI in a good fashion, in my opinion. It's converted something for us and saved us time. And we're going to go back over to our virtual machine over in UCertify. Now, we need to get rid of all of this information because we don't want this anymore. With Nano, there's keystrokes that you can use to edit this file that'll make your life a little easier. If you have any questions about this or want to know more about Nano, do a quick Google search and say, how do I edit a file in Nano? Or how do I do whatever it is in Nano? And there's Control K. So let me get here. Control K is the cut, and it cuts a whole line out. So what we're doing is we're just cutting all the pieces we don't want. So in a few keystrokes, I cleared that out without having to go through any major gyrations in editing that file. I didn't make any mistakes. I just used Control K to cut that information out, and it's out of my way. So now what I'm going to do, the best way, there's no way to actually go ahead and paste this directly into it. So what you need to do is use this send text and keystrokes, and you're going to paste your file format. I'm just gonna, that we just created with AI, and what you're gonna do is say send. And this takes a while, but what it does is it literally recreates those keystrokes within Nano for you so that you don't have to. This is the way Nano works. It's normally a little bit faster. And so what you can see happening here is we're creating the insert statements. The That's interesting. It only copied. Oh, well, it looks like I goofed. Okay, well, it's a good thing for you to learn. Um, oh, I realize what I did. I didn't copy it all. So this is something to be careful about. Is all I copied. So let me go back, and unfortunately I'm going to pause this for a second, and let's go ahead and I'll get back to the point where I need to be. So this shows you that being careful with what you're doing, and don't talk and drive. But let me go ahead and pause this for a second, and what I'm going to do is be right back and get to the point where we're ready to run this file. So just hold on. Okay, everyone, this is Dr. K, and I'm back now. What had happened while I was off screen there was I went ahead and completed the copy of that code, and you can see now, based upon what is in that file that we just edited. Let me get over there. Is that it's all the information that we just generated over in our AI tool of choice, and it includes the creation statements for the database structure and then inserting the sample data for us. So we just, again, used AI in an appropriate manner, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a Control X. And since we've modified the file and haven't saved it yet, it's asking us if we want to save that. Please make sure to say yes, or Y for yes. And then we can do that Control X again. Oh, I'm sorry, hit enter. And it exits out. So it was able to save that. And what we can do to confirm it is say more student code py. And you can see that our file is still there. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and actually run our code. And this was provided for us as part of the course. So we're going to say Python 3 main.py. And we're going to run that, and now all those good green check marks are exactly what we want to see. What has happened is that script read our information, that Python script read our information that we converted into Python code. Excuse me, it created the student tables, the courses table, etc., inserted all that data successfully, and then went ahead and it did try to drop the tables. And so that's just the way that normal process works. But what we have done is we've taken our SQL code that you generated in whatever ERD tool that you used and successfully ported that into a server and run the code and inserted sample data so that we could actually test that. That's where we are right now. So now what you should do is, and this part, we'll see how well this works, is we need to go back and open that public IP address back on our EC2 instance. So I'm going to exit, and I'm going to close, or go back to my EC2 instances. Go to my dashboard, see my running instances, click on that, And here is your public IP address. And this is a normal process. This is you certify saying, hey, do you still want to be using this machine? So we're going to say extend because we're almost done with it. Okay, everyone, sorry for the pause again, but the nice thing is we're back. And what this means, so you know, is it says open a new tab on your local system. So what that means is not the EC2 instance on you certify, but open it up on your local machine that you're working on. And so by opening up that IP address, you can see that I was able to connect to MySQL. You can see the databases that are created. You can see the names that were inserted as part of our structure and all of the information that was part of that script that we converted. So now you finally completed the part. So let me just quickly go over this so that you know where we are. And what we've done is we went ahead and we created the ERD. We converted it to SQL code. We then used AI to go ahead and help us format that into SQL within Python. So it was Python-based SQL statements. And then we ran that from our Linux EC2 instance, and we're able to create the database, insert some test data, and show that our ERD system actually did support the data that we said it would. So now this is the part, let's go back over here to project 1, is you should go ahead and you can see that we've created all or completed all these steps. You've created an EC2 instance. You successfully created a database on your EC2, and you can see our screenshot looked similar to this. That's what we're hoping for as part of the outcome. And there are some questions that you need to address along the way. So as part of this, you are supposed to do a typed reflection. You're supposed to compare in-house server setup with a virtual setup. And then the other part of it is going through the advantages of an EC2 instance. Make sure you address all of that in your narrative. Typically, that's going to take about a page or so to do that, and include that screenshot that we just took of our MySQL connection and the successful creation of that database. Make sure you address all of the things in this particular assignment, and that is what you're going to submit for the, make sure we get it right, the Project 1 Milestone 2 portion of the IT423 course. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me individually. I'm going to stop sharing this, and hopefully that will get you well on your way.